I've been married to my wife, Melissa, not her real name, for almost 7 years. We met at a mutual friend's wedding and hit it off right away. She was confident, witty, beautiful, everything I thought I wanted in a partner. Our relationship moved fast, but it always felt like we were in sync. Or so I thought. The first couple of years were solid. We traveled, built a home together, even talked about kids, though we hadn't pulled the trigger on that yet. But things started shifting maybe a year and a half ago. Nothing dramatic at first, just small things. She started going out with her girls, more often, dressing a bit differently, more makeup, tighter clothes, perfume she never used to wear, getting defensive when I asked questions. I told myself not to be that guy, insecure, paranoid. I didn't want to be controlling. I trusted her. I loved her. And when I asked her about it, she gave me the same line every time. You're imagining things. Don't be weird. Still, something felt off. Like I was in a room where the walls had started to move, just slightly, but enough that you knew something wasn't right. I started to question myself, which made me feel crazy. But I didn't have proof. Just a gut feeling. You know? Anyway, that's where it started. About 4 months ago, things escalated. Melissa changed the password on her phone. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who snoops. I believe in privacy. But here's the thing. We always had an unspoken agreement that we didn't hide things. Her phone used to be face up on the table, notifications pinging without a care in the world. Suddenly it was always face down. On silent. And when I casually reached for it once to check the time, she snatched it like I was reaching for state secrets. I asked her, calmly mind you, "Hey, did you change your phone password?" She smiled, that smug half-smile she started doing lately, and said, "Yeah, I just needed a little more privacy. It's not a big deal, don't be so dramatic." "More privacy from me?" I asked. She rolled her eyes and laughed like I'd said something ridiculous. "God, it's just a phone, not my diary. You're being paranoid again." That word, paranoid. She started throwing it at me like a weapon. Every time I noticed something off, I was being paranoid. Like I was the one creating problems out of thin air. But I knew something wasn't right. I couldn't put my finger on it, but that gut feeling? It wasn't going away. If anything, it was growing. Then came the night she didn't come home. Was a Thursday night. I remember because I had work early Friday morning and we were supposed to have dinner together. Nothing fancy, just Thai takeout and Netflix. She texted me around 6:30 p.m. saying, "Hey babe, work ran late, I'm grabbing drinks with Stacy and Amanda. Don't wait up face blowings." I was a little bummed, but whatever, she deserved to unwind. Only something about that message didn't sit right. It felt rehearsed. Like someone trying too hard to sound casual. Plus, she hates Stacy. Like really hates her. I asked once before why they even hung out and she just said, "She's useful sometimes." Useful. Red flag in hindsight. So the night goes on. Midnight rolls around. No texts. No calls. I texted once. "Everything okay?" Nothing. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I kept checking my phone like a dog waiting for its owner. She finally walks in at 3:47 a.m. No apology. No explanation. She's wearing a different shirt than the one she left in, hair's messy, and her makeup is all smeared like she took a nap in a car or a bed. I ask, "Where the hell have you been?" And she scoffs. Actually scoffs and says, "Jesus, you're acting like my dad. I told you I was with Stacy." With Stacy until almost 4 in the morning? She had a breakup, okay? We were talking, then I crashed at her place for a bit. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I knew she was lying. You don't come back looking like that after consoling a friend. But she was already in the bathroom, stripping off her clothes like the conversation was over. And part of me, I hate this, part of me wanted to believe her. Because if she wasn't lying, then I was just being jealous. But if she was, then everything I thought I had was unraveling. I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at the ceiling. A week after this Stacy incident, I was still trying to play it cool, even though I was dying inside. Melissa had gone back to acting normal, laughing at my jokes, kissing me goodnight, even initiating sex once. which, honestly, felt more like performance art than affection. But I couldn't shake that tight, crawling feeling in my chest. Like something was hiding in plain sight, and I just hadn't looked in the right place yet. She slipped. We were at dinner with friends, just casual drinks and burgers. Melissa had a few too many cocktails, and her filters started to fray. Someone mentioned a weekend hiking trip, and she laughed and said, "God, I haven't been hiking in ages, except that time with Matt last month." Wait, no, that was Stacy, I mean. And then silence. Everyone kind of paused. Just this weird little hiccup in conversation. I didn't say anything then. Didn't want to make a scene in front of our friends. But my heart dropped. I don't know anyone named Matt. Not in our circle. Not at her job. And it wasn't the kind of name you just toss out on accident unless it meant something. That night, after we got home, I asked her calmly, "Hey, who's Matt?" She blinked too fast. "That's her tell." Then she laughed. "Oh my God, you're still on that?" It was just a name, I was drunk, I don't even know a Matt. But I knew it was a lie. She said it too quickly. Too firmly. Like she'd practiced it. I didn't push it right then, but something inside me shifted. Like a lock turning in my brain. The next day, I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I made a backup of her old phone. One she thought she'd reset. But she didn't reset it completely. So, Melissa had this old iPhone she used before she upgraded last year. She gave it to me, said I could use it for work stuff or as a backup. She told me she wiped it, factory reset and all. I believed her, until I powered it up. It still had her Apple ID logged in. No SIM card, but messages was synced through iCloud. And apparently, she hadn't turned that off properly. I scrolled. My hands were sweating. I felt like I was breaking into a crime scene. And there he was. Not saved as Matt, of course. He was under 2 Malawian kwacha's cocktail glass, which I guess was supposed to be sneaky. But their chats? Not sneaky at all. Flirty. Dirty. Specific. There were messages like, "I miss the way you kissed my neck in the car yesterday," face blowing a kiss. He has no idea. I just pretended I was on a Zoom call. God, I wish I could fall asleep next to you tonight. I wish I was making that up. I wish I was exaggerating. But it was all there. Time-stamped. Geotagged from places she said she was working late. Even photos, nothing full nude, but suggestive enough that I wanted to vomit. Her in that stupid gray hoodie I bought her for Christmas, smiling in someone else's bed. I remember just staring at the screen. Not even angry yet. The worst part? This wasn't a one-night thing. It had been going on for months. They had nicknames. Inside jokes. Planned meetups. She even messaged him once while we were at my parents' house for Thanksgiving. Can't stop thinking about Saturday. I'll sneak out in the morning, he sleeps in anyway. She used me as a prop. As cover. Like I was some background actor in the Melissa and Matt show. I sat in the dark with that phone for 3 hours. I didn't cry. Not yet. That came later. I waited until the next evening. I needed time to process what I saw, and honestly, I didn't trust myself not to explode in the moment. She came home from a client dinner. Hair done, heels on, lipstick slightly smudged. I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. But I kept my cool. Sat on the couch. Asked her to sit down. She looked at me like I was being weird again. "What's going on?" she said, halfway to rolling her eyes. I held up her old phone. Calmly. Quietly. "So, you forgot to fully wipe this." She froze. And I mean froze. Her body stiffened like a statue, and her face went blank. Not scared. Not apologetic. Just calculating. "I don't know what you think you saw, but..." "I saw the messages, Melissa. I saw everything. You've been sleeping with someone named Matt for months." She didn't even deny it right away. She just stared at me, like I was a problem she was figuring out how to solve. Then she started pacing. "You shouldn't have gone through my phone." That's the first thing she said. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "Let me explain." Just accusing me of snooping. I laughed. I actually laughed. I couldn't believe it. "You cheated on me, and I'm the bad guy because I found out?" Then came the waterworks. Suddenly she was crying. Big crocodile tears. It didn't mean anything, okay? I was just lonely. You've been so distant lately. You work all the time, you never notice me anymore. I asked her if she seriously thought that justified this. And she screamed. I needed to feel wanted. And Matt actually listens to me. You just sit in front of your stupid laptop all day. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She was angry she got caught. The yelling started. She started flipping it around, calling me emotionally unavailable, saying I pushed her into it. I didn't hit her. I didn't scream back. I just stood there and said, you don't love me. You just like the idea of me, someone stable. Someone easy to lie to. And then I walked out. I spent that night in my car, in the Walmart parking lot. Didn't want to go to a friend's house. Didn't want to answer questions. I just needed silence. I slept maybe 45 minutes that night. In the back seat of my car, hoodie over my face, freezing even with the windows up. I kept waking up in bursts, heart pounding like I just missed a step on a staircase. At 6:30 a.m., I went into the Walmart I was parked in front of. Just wandered the aisles like a ghost. I wasn't shopping. I didn't even know why I went in. Maybe I just didn't want to be alone in the car anymore. Maybe I thought being around other humans would make me feel like one again. I ended up in the cleaning supplies aisle. Looking at sponges. Just looking. And out of nowhere, I started crying. Like full body shaking, ugly, snot in your beard kind of crying. I crouched down between 2 stacks of Clorox wipes and just lost it. No one stopped. No one asked if I was okay. A guy walked past and looked uncomfortable, and I don't blame him. I probably looked unhinged. But that breakdown, it felt like something inside me cracked open. Everything hit me at once. The betrayal. The gaslighting. The way she twisted it back on me. The life I thought we had, just gone. And the worst part? I still loved her. That was the part one hated most. I still loved someone who had gutted me. That kind of pain is worse than anger. Because anger can burn out. Love just lingers like smoke. I stayed in that store for over an hour. Bought a bag of trail mix and a Gatorade just so I didn't look suspicious. Then drove around aimlessly until I landed in front of my old college roommate's house. I texted him, "Can I crash on your couch?" Melissa cheated. Long story. His reply, "Jesus. Yeah, doors open. Beers in the fridge." God bless him. So I'm at my buddy Jordan's place. We hadn't really talked much in the last year, life stuff, you know, but he didn't ask questions. Just handed me a beer, turned on a game, and let me sit in silence. No prying. Just being there. Honestly, it was exactly what I needed. Around 9 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Jordan glanced at me and I already knew. I could feel her presence before I even saw her. Like static in the air. He opened the door and there she was, Melissa, mascara running, hair in a messy bun, wearing one of my old hoodies like it was going to earn sympathy points. She looked straight past Jordan and locked eyes with me. "Can we talk? Please?" I didn't say anything. Just stared. She stepped in like she had the right to, like she owned the space. "I'm sorry," she said, already crying. "I panicked last night. I didn't mean what I said. I was scared. I love you. I want to fix this." Jordan looked at me, waiting for a signal. I gave him a tiny nod, and he disappeared into the back room, giving us space. And then she launched into it, this whole Oscar-worthy monologue. It wasn't serious. It was just attention. I felt invisible. I made a huge mistake, but you can't throw away 7 years over one mistake. "One mistake?" I asked. "Melissa, you were in a relationship with him. You had routines. You texted him while lying next to me in bed." She had the nerve to look offended, like I was being cruel by stating facts. I didn't mean to fall for him, okay? It just happened. But I realized it was wrong and I ended it. I stared at her. "You ended it? When, before or after I found the messages?" She went quiet. That's when I knew she wasn't there to confess. She was there because she lost control of the narrative. She was trying to damage control me. She started reaching for my hand. "Please. Let's go to therapy. Let's fix this." I pulled my hand back. Calmly. You don't want to fix us. You want to fix your image of yourself. You want to be the girl who made a mistake, not the woman who blew up her marriage. She froze. That was the first time she didn't have a comeback. Then I said it. I'm done. And for once, she didn't argue. She just walked out. After she left Jordan's house, it didn't feel like a victory. It didn't feel like I took a stand or chose myself, like all the motivational Instagram quotes say. It felt like I just amputated a limb. Like something vital had been ripped from me and now I was just leaking grief. The first few days I barely moved. I called in sick to work and stayed on Jordan's couch, eating nothing but dry cereal and beer. I'd fall asleep at 3 a.m. and wake up at 5 with my heart racing like I was late for something, like my body was still bracing for a fight that was already over. I kept going back over everything in my head, replaying old memories and wondering what was real. The weekend trips. The inside jokes. The time she cried in my arms when her mom got sick. Did she mean any of it? Or was I just convenient? Grief isn't linear. Some moments I'd feel almost okay, like I could breathe again. Then I'd hear a song or smell her shampoo on my hoodie and feel like I'd been shot in the chest. One night, I found myself scrolling through our wedding photos on Facebook. She looked so happy. I did too. God, we looked like idiots. I almost messaged her. Not to get back together, just to say something. Anything. Because the silence was deafening. But I didn't. I stopped myself. Instead, I deleted the album. That hurt more than I thought it would. Grieving someone who's still alive is brutal. She's out there, probably texting Matt or someone else by now, spinning some story about how I was cold, I was distant, I drove her to it. Meanwhile, I'm here, trying to scrape together whatever's left of my dignity. About 10 days after I found out, I finally went back to the house. Bills were piling up, clothes were running low, and Jordan's couch had basically imprinted itself onto my spine. Plus, I needed to grab a few things I didn't want her touching. Documents, my dad's old watch, my journals. Stuff with actual weight. I texted her ahead of time. I'll be coming by around 4. Please don't be there. She replied. Fine. Face with rolling eyes, just don't take anything that isn't yours. That eye roll emoji? That sent me into another dimension of rage. Like she had the moral high ground. Like I was the one doing something shady. Classic deflection. She always had this way of making herself the victim, even when she set the fire herself. When I got to the house, it was like stepping into a mausoleum. Everything looked the same, but it felt wrong. Her scent was still in the air. Her coffee mug was on the counter. Her hair tie was on the doorknob to the bedroom, and for a second, I just stood there and stared at it like it was radioactive. The worst part? The bed. Our bed. Where I used to curl up next to her and feel safe. I couldn't even look at it without picturing her and him. It made my stomach turn. So I stripped the sheets, stuffed them into a trash bag, and tossed them straight in the bin outside. I grabbed my important stuff. Packed a duffel bag. Then I hesitated. There was this photo on the mantle, our wedding day. She's laughing, I'm holding her hand. We looked so in love. I took it off the shelf, held it for a second, and then I put it face down. Not ready to throw it out. Not ready to look at it either. As I was about to leave, the front door opened. Melissa walked in. I just blinked. I asked you not to be here. She looked at me like I was the inconvenience. Yeah, well, it's my house too. And then she said it. The thing that made me realize how far gone she really was. Are you seriously still mad about this? Like we both made mistakes. I laughed in disbelief. Not even bitter, just stunned. She cheated, lied, gaslit me, and now we were suddenly equal in this? I didn't even respond. Just walked past her, duffel on my shoulder, and said, "You're not even sorry. You just hate being the bad guy." She didn't deny it. And I didn't look back. After that cold showdown at the house, I knew I couldn't drag this out any longer. I called a divorce lawyer. It felt like admitting defeat, but honestly, at that point, it felt like the only sane option. I booked an appointment and sat in the waiting room, heart racing, palms sweaty. When the lawyer asked why I was there, I didn't cry, just spilled everything. The cheating, the lies, the confrontation, how Melissa acted like I was the one who did something wrong. A few days later, I told Melissa about seeing the lawyer. I expected screaming or begging. Instead, she dropped a bomb. If you want to separate, fine. But you're not taking the dog. Our dog, Baxter, was my emotional anchor during the whole nightmare. He was my buddy when Melissa was emotionally checked out. And now she was acting like custody of him was a negotiation point? I was stunned. Seriously? You're using Baxter as leverage? She shrugged, biting her lip like she knew she had me cornered. He's my dog too. I take care of him when you're working late. I wanted to scream. It wasn't about the dog. It was about control. Even now, she was trying to make me fight for something pure and innocent, turning it into a battlefield. I spent the night thinking about Baxter, about Melissa, about everything. I didn't want to be the guy who loses his dog in a bitter split. So I started looking up custody agreements for pets. Yes, apparently, that's a thing. I realized this mess was going to get uglier before it got better. The lawyer wasn't kidding when they said divorce gets messy. Melissa went from bitchy and dismissive to playing the victim in full force. She claimed I was emotionally abusive and controlling because I wanted the truth and, basic respect. I thought about giving up sometimes. The court paperwork, the back-and-forth emails, the random calls from her lawyer trying to bait me into a fight. It drained me. But here's the thing, I wasn't alone. Jordan was there. My other friends were there. Even some distant cousins I barely knew started checking in. It felt like the universe was sending me tiny lifelines. One night, after a brutal mediation session, I came home to a surprise. A care package on my doorstep from my sister. She'd included a handwritten note. You deserve to be loved honestly. Don't let her lies break you. That hit me harder than I expected. I started leaning on these people more than ever. Therapy helped too. I never thought I'd be the type, but just talking it out gave me a bit of peace. And Baxter? He was a champ through all this. He'd sense when I was low, jump onto my lap, and just be there. No judgments, no expectations. Melissa tried to drag the fight out, but my lawyer was clear. No games. I stood my ground. Eventually, the court ordered us to a final mediation. It was exhausting, but at least it meant the end was near. We met in this bland, sterile room with a mediator and both our lawyers. Melissa showed up in full performance mode, polished, polite, and fake as hell. Like we were business partners dissolving a company, not two people untangling a life. She sat across from me, arms folded, doing that smug little smirk again. I swear, if I'd had less self-control, I might have said something I'd regret. The mediator went through everything: property, car, finances. Most of it we'd already split, but the real battle came down to one thing: Baxter. Her lawyer said, deadpan, Melissa would prefer sole custody of the dog, given the emotional strain and schedule conflicts on Mr., my last name, S side. I almost laughed out loud. Sole custody of a dog? What emotional strain, hers or mine? I looked at her. Why are you doing this? You don't even walk him. She didn't answer. Just stared at the table like she was above the conversation. That's when I made a decision that surprised even me. I leaned over to my lawyer and whispered something. She paused, raised an eyebrow, but then nodded. I cleared my throat and looked at the room. She can have the house. I'll keep Baxter. Non-negotiable. Dead silence. Melissa blinked. I repeated myself. You can keep the house. I'll take the dog. Her face cracked. For a second, the mask slipped. Because she wanted the house, desperately. She just didn't think I'd offer it. She tried to pivot. No, wait, I didn't mean. But the mediator jumped in. If both parties agree, I'll draft the paperwork. I signed. Right then. My lawyer slid it across to her. Melissa stared at it like it was poison. But she signed too. It was done. I walked out of that building with Baxter's leash in one hand and a final sense of closure in the other. And I didn't look back. The weird thing about freedom? It doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like silence, the kind that's both peaceful and terrifying. After the papers were signed, I moved into a small one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Nothing fancy. Just enough space for me, Baxter, And the boxes I hadn't touched since the day everything blew up. I didn't rush to decorate. I didn't hang anything on the walls for weeks. I just existed. But slowly, something started shifting. I stopped waking up with that tight knot in my chest. I stopped checking my phone, expecting some guilt text from her. I stopped replaying conversations in my head trying to figure out where I went wrong. Because here's the thing, I didn't ruin the marriage. She did. That realization took time. Therapy helped. Friends helped. But mostly it was Baxter, curled up at the foot of my bed, tail thumping softly in his sleep, who reminded me what loyalty actually looks like. Melissa tried texting me once. A vague, nostalgia-laced, "Hope you're doing okay." I stared at it for a full minute, then deleted it. No anger. No pain. Just done. I started running again. Joined a gym. Started cooking instead of living off takeout and shame. Even went on a couple of awkward first dates. Nothing serious, but it felt good to remember I could still be wanted, without having to be lied to first. And the nightmares? They started fading too. Melissa, once a ghost in every corner of my mind, became just a name. A lesson. It's been 6 months since I walked out of that mediation room with Baxter by my side and Melissa behind me for good. I won't lie to you, it was hell. The kind that doesn't show up in dramatic movie scenes or viral TikToks with sad music. It was real, quiet, crushing pain. But it did pass. And on the other side of it, there's something better than love or revenge. There's clarity. Here's what I've learned. Take it or leave it. If your gut is screaming, listen. You're not paranoid. You're not crazy. You know when something's wrong. Don't let someone gaslight you into thinking truth is a character flaw. Cheating isn't a mistake. It's a choice, a series of them. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. Sneaking around for months and lying to your partner's face every day? That's who they are. Love doesn't excuse betrayal. I loved Melissa. But love without respect is just self-destruction with a pretty name. People will show you who they are when they lose control. Melissa didn't apologize. She defended. She spun stories. She weaponized guilt. That wasn't new, it was just finally unmasked. You are allowed to walk away. Even if you don't have it all figured out. Even if your voice shakes. Even if it breaks your heart. Staying with someone who doesn't value you is just slowly erasing yourself. I've got Baxter, my own space, real friends, and, for the first time in years, I'm not bracing for impact every time my phone lights up. If you're reading this and you're where I was, you're not weak for loving someone who hurt you, but you are strong if you leave. Thanks for reading and subscribe on this channel.